guys, those of you who know me, you know this time of year I start working on visioning the new year for myself. And I've put up just a quick class on the process I go through. And it's called Dream On. And it occurred to me that I had not in that class talked about, and there's a reason for this, but I had not talked about the things that you don't want to pull in. And one of the reasons I did not talk about it is because you don't want to focus in on with your artwork on the things that you don't want in your life. And so you want to focus in on those things that you do want. However, those things that are no longer serving you, they're still there. And so I thought I would do a quick little freebie kind of exercise for those of you who are taking the class, and even those of you who aren't. I would love to hear those things that you don't want to take into the new year. You know, we always, we do our New Year's resolution and we want to be fit, or we want to be this or whatever. We want to feel this, we want to have that. But we don't really talk a lot about what we don't want. And that's okay, because you don't want to set up all of that resistance in yourself. And, you know, I have an entire course called the Down Deep that goes into some of this stuff in detail and how to deal with it. But I wanted to show you my process. So one of the things I realized that I did not want in the new year are painkillers. And I don't mean that in like the opiate sense. I mean that in the sense of the things that we do to make our pain go away or to ignore our pain. And the reason I don't want those things for myself is because, you know, pain is a fantastic signal from the deep that, you know, you need to change something. And so if you don't feel that pain, then you don't deal with it. And I think, I know for myself, I'm very good at not dealing with it. And so I don't want to bring painkillers into 2020 with me. And, you know, I'll just give you an example. One painkiller that I know of for sure is food. And you say, well, how can food be a painkiller? Well, first of all, food's a drug, just bottom line. You know, carbohydrates make you feel good. Sugar gives you energy. Chocolate, we won't even go into that because it's just so dang good. I mean, everything. So what happens is, for me, and maybe some of you out there are like this, I am pushing my feelings down sometimes and putting food on top of them. And eating that food enables me not to, you know, not to feel the pain. So I want to eat because I'm hungry, you know. And I'll just write that quickly for hunger. And to feed my body rather than eating to deal with pain. For me, what I want to move towards is when I have pain, dealing with that rather than dealing with all of the things. You know, it's a vicious cycle. If you're eating to deal with pain, then you have to deal with the effects of overeating. So that's one of the things. The second thing I wanted to look at for myself is I wanted to look at screen time. And I'm not talking about the screen time where I'm learning something or any of those things. I'm talking about the screen time where you go online and you're going to do something, and the next thing you know, you've spent 2 hours scrolling through stuff, right? And I know for me as an artist, one of the ways that I fuel my creative fires is going down rabbit holes. So, you know, I absolutely get that. The problem for me comes when I don't want to feel something and I get on the screen and I just, you know, I'm not even fueling a creative fire. I'm fueling an addiction. you know, whether I'm, oh, that looks cool, I want to buy that, or, oh, look at those people, look what they have. There's just so many things we do with screen time. And if I'm using screen time to escape, I'm not creating. And I know for myself that when I'm creating, I'm in a better place emotionally, really even physically for me. Every part of me feels better when I'm creating, as long as I get up and take breaks. So there's that. And this is screen time, like on your tablet, your phone. The third thing I thought of was TV, and in particular, you know, yes, this is also kind of a form of screen time, but you know, you're bored, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling happy, you're feeling unhappy, you're going to give yourself a treat and have movie night, all of those things. It's one thing to watch TV consciously. Hey, you know, I really, really want to see The Amazing Miss Maisel, you know, and you sit down, you watch that, and then you go about doing your stuff. Or I'm all about binge days, you know, it's pouring outside. You want to, you know, hang out and binge watch something and just let your mind be free. But there's something that I do. I don't know if you guys do it. Say I'm going to go and watch, you know, a show. The next thing I know, whatever came on next or whatever, I've watched 3 or 4 hours. And I want to do these things consciously and not subconsciously, if that makes sense. And then the fourth thing I came up with is living in the future. I want to give that up. I don't think it's serving me. And you know what? We all talk about, oh, you got to be in the now. That's a hard thing to do. And it's something that you have to recommit to minute by minute. And when you get stressed or upset or angry, it's easy to live in the future. I don't live as much in the past anymore, but it's very easy to live in the past or the future for all of us. Excuse me. And so these are the 4 things that I want to look at and how they don't serve me. So you've figured out the things that you don't want to take into 2020 or any, you know, it doesn't always have to be in December. Sometimes I'll do a journey board for a big issue that's coming up that I know I need more clarity on. But anyway, say you're sitting here, you've got your things that you don't want to bring into the next year with you. And then you say, well, okay, these things don't serve me anymore, whatever they are. And by the way, I'd love to hear, you know, just one thing that's not serving you that you don't want to bring into the new year, and how you're going to deal with that. But I have an entire class called the Down Deep where those of you who've taken it, you know, it's all about getting familiar with what's in the deep, what's in your subconscious, what's running around, getting to know yourself. And I know that for me, one of the things that does not work is resistance. And so I'm always trying to do an end run around resistance. And I love cards, oracle cards, tarot cards. You know, they're just like little pieces of art that you can hold in your hand. And for me, a lot of times they give me some, I don't know, some inspiration from my higher self on how to deal with things. So one of the things I did was I pulled cards for when I was off film and, you know, could get grounded and think for a minute. And the first card I pulled was Crow. And it says on here, co-create with spirit. And, you know, rather than look up each card in a book and all of that, I kind of let my intuition tell me what that's about. And so it's kind of like, rather than using food, this is what I get from me, rather than using food to deal with pain, I can co-create with my spirit. And I can co-create with a bigger spirit of the universe and use that to deal with my pain. I can create. And so screen time, one of the things I got for screen time, which one was it? I think it was the butterfly. And I had written it down somewhere else, so don't be concerned. But I got butterfly spirit. And what's interesting about this is the butterfly symbol shows up in my 2020. So my 2020 journey board and vision board. And so I thought to myself, you know, that means there's something I really need to look at here. So it says here, transformation is beautiful. And that's just kind of a further, you know, underlining of, okay, yeah, this is something that I need to change, and this is something I need to look into a little further. And then for TV, I got groundhog spirit. I love groundhogs. Every time I see them, I'm just, you know, all about it. But anyway, it says time to let go. And that was kind of a message for me, like, okay, it's time to let go of some of those things that are driving me to watch television and to escape in this way. And so I'll be looking at all of these as I go forward and coming up with a plan on how I can look at these things that don't serve me and not carry them with me. I also, going back to the groundhog, you know, he's just a real chunker. And I love that about them. And I understand they're storing fat all of the time, you know, for the winter and to keep warm in the winter and all of that. And, you know, I probably don't need to store fat. You know, I'm not I'm not in that stage of my life, you know. I have food and I don't have to worry about my next meal, and I'm grateful for that. And I don't have to store memories and pain and emotions in that fat either. So that was interesting. Living in the future, it was funny. I pulled Hummingbird Be Here Now. And one of the things that the hummingbird says to me is, you know, everything's just going so fast. They have to be in the moment because, I mean, things are just, you've seen them, they're just zipping, zipping, zipping. So I'll be looking at that too. And then I pulled an overall card for this whole thing. And this was interesting too. It says, you see clearly now. And again, this owl shows up in my vision board, or one of my vision boards. So I'll definitely be looking at all of these and talking to myself about this story here. And that's one of the ways that I, you know, get rid of my resistance, is start telling myself a story rather than saying, food, gotta go on a diet, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to give up. I try to come at it from a different angle and say, okay, well, what's the story? What do I need to know? And listen, you know, quietly to the wisdom that I have inside, you know, because we all know overeating is not a good thing. You know, there's not one person who's overeating who thinks that's a good idea. But what's the reason, you know, what inside of me is driving that? And when I tell myself a story, I'm much more successful. Sometimes I have to tell myself a story over and over again because something's so ingrained, and you know, then I have to get to the bottom of it. But this is the way I do it. And so I wanted you guys to see that, those who are taking the class and those who aren't. I'd love to hear from any and all of you the things that you want to leave in 2019, the things that aren't serving you, that you don't want to take with you. So let me know what you think, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.